Shalom, Yasharallah. This your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. A salutation and much love for you, Akim, pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this here article, which is, getting us closer to the kingdom, as we see the devil is preparing himself to come down with great wrath and setting up his policies to do so. All right. And this is propaganda that they're spreading. So this one here says U.S. put on heightened terrorist threat alert through April. Department of Homeland Security cites concerns over politically frustrated Americans. And not only myself, but a lot of these other brothers out here have been telling you about how, they're not flat out coming out and telling you their agenda, with 100% truth. All right. They hide things behind things. All right. They'll say, for instance, when you go back to the 9/11 situation. All right. They said they had to put up all these cameras and the spying and the hacking into your phones and things like that. We're not looking for you, the everyday Joe. We're trying to find out for these terrorists or whatever, whatnot, But in reality, in their little net that they threw out there, they didn't catch very many terrorists, but they caught way more other people doing other things and stuff like that, But nevertheless, these are these here stories, and we're looking at the important things behind them. So let's read this here article, because beyond all of this, they'll tell you exactly who they're trying to come up against, all right? They're using the shadow of the so-called white supremacists that stormed the Capitol building. It says the Department of Homeland Security is citing the Capitol unrest to declare a heightened threat of domestic terrorists through April, saying some individuals might be frustrated with the Biden administration. All right. So that's just out in the so-called open, what they're trying to, cover this with, obviously they're upset with Joe Biden and winning the presidency or whatever, whatnot. This is one of the reasons. But nevertheless, to the layman's mind, the regular people just taking a quick glance at this, they're like, oh, these are these so-called white supremacist Trump supporters or whatever, whatnot. This has nothing to do with the so-called with the Hebrew Israelites. All right. It says the National Terrorism Advisory System bulletin issued Wednesday warns that some ideological motivated violent extremists. All right. So, hey, going into that, your basically your ideals, your ideology, or your way of life or your doctrines and things like that. Right. So our ideology is what? Following after the law, statutes, commandments. Right. Now, what their ideology is following after the beast system. All right. So just because they have certain things, ideological, motivated, those type of words in there. All right. Doesn't mean anything. All right. Because, people are ideologically motivated to get married, have children, and so on and so forth. It's just a way of life. Right. But it says violent extremists with objections to exercise of governmental authority and presidential transition, as well as other perceived grievance fueled by false narratives, could continue to mobilize to incite or commit violence, right? So they keep going into this here violence, right? And all these different things, but yet they show you, the storming of the White House, not the White House, the Capitol or whatever, whatnot, and then they keep, they're putting these images in your mind while they're using these here words. But in all actuality, when you go into the truth and the scriptures and the things that we're preaching about is what? Babylon being destroyed by thermonuclear missiles, all right, Esau going into captivity, all right, and so on and so forth, right? Now, when it comes to Babylon being destroyed by thermonuclear missiles and things like that, again, what you have to understand is we're the spiritual weathermen, all right? So in just the regular world, let's just say Hurricane Katrina, right? When the newscaster was speaking about Hurricane Katrina, about how devastating it's going to be, so on and so forth, that Hurricane Katrina went down there and destroyed every damn thing. Nobody looked at the weatherman as like, this is all your fault. You called this. You brought this upon us. You made sure that our house got flooded out and my mama died, my kids died, or whatever, whatnot. Nobody's going to do that. That would be insane, because they was like, well, he didn't cause the hurricane. He was warning you that it was coming. All right. And that's where we at right now. But ultimately, what you have to understand is Esau is really bringing this upon himself. All right. That's just like, you get your car evicted, right? Now, you're basically the one, you can get mad at the tow truck driver that's coming to evict your shit or whatever, whatnot. But in reality, you're the one that summoned up the tow truck driver. All right. Because of why? You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be following after the law, statutes, commandments. Right. Now, again, flipping it to the tow truck driver, you're supposed to be paying your car note or whatever, whatnot. But you refuse to do that. You be irresponsible with your car note. You go out and you take that money out to the bar, the strip club, go gambling, doing whatever with it, right? Now your bill is overdue, way overdue. They call you, sending you letters, but you don't answer the phone. You keep hanging up the phone. You keep ignoring these things and keep spending all your money. Months go by. Now they fed up with it. Now they go and now they send the tow truck driver out there. But see, the tow truck driver wouldn't have been sent out there had you been doing what you were supposed to be doing. This is how you wind up summoning a tow truck driver. So the same thing with Esau. All right. The more he's pushing towards this New World Order agenda, the quicker these prophecies are coming to pass, which is going to be shortening up his time in rulership. All right. Bringing him to the king of terrors, in which he don't understand these things. All right. It says the National Terrorism Advisory System bulletin issued Wednesday warned some ideological motivated violent extremists with objections to exercise of governmental authority and presidential transition, as well as other perceived grievance fueled by false narratives, could continue to mobilize or incite, commit violence. So it says, with objections to exercise of governmental authority, all right, hey, going into what the first 100 days, 100 million jabs, all right, them forcing you to take this here jab or whatever, whatnot, you know, because they want to fulfill their agenda, all right. Let me jump down. It says the DHS. Now this is going to get into what we're talking about with the jab and everything, right? It says the DHS claims that some domestic violent extremists, or DVE, or like DIVE, may be emboldened by the January 6th breach of the U.S. Capitol to target elected officials and governmental facilities, right? And again, you have to understand about how this is coming to a head between Jacob and Esau. All right, Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth, man. All right, but see, you have to understand is, Esau gonna go to World War III first, man, before the Lord come and take his ass up out of power. And that's what they don't understand, that the Lord is coming to do this, man. We don't have anything and this is really retarded, because we know that these the FBI and all these people, they know about us, they watch us, they know everything about us. They know that we ain't got no weapons like this. They know that we ain't out here stacking up on bullets and this and that and got militias and everything like that. Nah, man, they know we ain't got none of these things, man. All right, and that's ultimately what they're afraid of. They're like, wait a minute. We got to paint some type of narrative against these guys to make them really look like a threat, because we're going to come down upon them. All right, because they know that the Lord is going to come to deliver his elect, man. All right, but see, if they just come down upon us because we believe in the Lord and we want to stick to the words of the Bible, all right, if he just came down and did that in the open, then everybody would see, well, maybe those guys was telling the truth. Maybe the government is the damn devil. Maybe these people are trying to deceive the population. But what? They have to paint a narrative against us, all right? It says, in the accompanying press release, the DHS admit it does not have any information to indicate a specific credible plot. You see, there's the truth. They don't have no information about no credible plot, but they're just throwing this out here to put it in the minds of people. Most people wouldn't read this. It says, but that violent riots have continued in recent days, likely reference to ongoing violence in Portland, Oregon, and Seattle, Washington, perpetrated by Antifa activists, as no riots by supporters of the former President Donald Trump have been materialized. Now let's read this here sign here, right? Again, read the writing between the lines. It says, we don't want Biden, we want revenge, right? Now these is basically Edomites out here. Now we'll look what they're against, right? It says for police murders. Well, who are the police out here murdering in mass numbers? It ain't these Edomites out here like this. It's actually Jake. All right, imperialist wars. Well, who did the imperialist wars benefit? It was Esau. Why are these Edomites mad about that? They the ones dominating the whole planet Earth and got America and running all these things because of what? Their imperialistic wars. Now, who did they come down against in their imperialistic wars? Who was living over here in America before Esau came over here? The so-called Native American Indians, the Northern Kingdom, right? It says, and fascist massacres. Again, we understand about Jacob's trouble, right? And things coming down. So basically, they're putting out the backdrop or the backbone to what we're standing for, but then they'll cover it up with something else. So when people kind of get a whiff of that scent, they just think, oh, this is what that is or whatever, whatnot, It says the alleged threat of a huge uprising by Trump supporters following the Capitol riot, supposedly from an FBI bulletin that was never made public, was cited as justification for deploying 25,000 National Guard troops in Washington, D.C. and holding Biden's inauguration in front of an empty National Mall. And again, these is the psychological operations that's going out there, where people are already going to be put on a heightened sense. Like, well, see, they had to have Biden's inauguration empty because they out there, they trying to do this, they trying to do that. They got these extremists out there. So when somebody just ride by on the highways or the byways and see us out there preaching or putting up videos about, the downfall of this here kingdom or whatever, whatnot, what do? They sit there and they pretty much connect us together with these different things. We've been on the highways and the byways and things like that, and people come across us and ask us, the majority of the time they ask us, or they'll make references like as if we're a Muslim group. All right, because one of the main things they see us on the highways and the byways with is beards. So they're not even smart enough to like, well, more than just the so-called Muslims wear beards, right? And they just think that we Muslims because we got beards or whatever, whatnot. Some people ride by, especially when the Black Lives Matter protest was going on, was asking if we was Black Lives Matter protesters or whatever, whatnot. But nevertheless, dots together that they have, and like, oh, this must be that or whatever, what. Right? It says the Wednesday Bulletin, the DHS also cited misinformation, right? How they keep dropping out our videos or whatever, whatnot, talking about medical misinformation, all right, and conspiracy theories, all right, about the jab that allegedly drove. Let me just stop there. Now, you see how they're trying to paint all this stuff together. Now, the protests at the Capitol building have nothing to do with the jab. It was over quote unquote election fraud, but they're trying to put all these things in together because these are the things that we're speaking about. Because one of the internet highways or whatever, whatnot, flooding the internet with these videos. People are watching it. People are listening. People are waking up to their deception and things like that. Especially when it comes to the jab, we was telling you about these things beforehand. Before they gave the first one out on TV, we told you about these things. All right. Again, the spiritual weatherman. We told you there's a hurricane coming. We told you it's going to be massive flooding, and you might want to evacuate. And what happened? The hurricane came. There was massive flooding. Your house got destroyed. Your grandmama drowned. You can't come to us and blame us for it. We didn't bring the hurricane. We didn't design these jabs. We didn't push these jabs out. We didn't force anybody to go get these jabs. In fact, we was telling you the opposite. That's not nothing we should be doing. But what? They tell us about medical misinformation. But what about the people that we seen on TV catching side effects and dying from these things, right? But then the medical information that y'all brought out that it was 95% safe, but damn near 95% of the people we see in taking these things that there's a ill side effect on, right? Then they saying conspiracy theories. Well, we was telling you about martial law coming, and that they was going to basically give you the mark of the beast and all these different things. There was going to be uprisings and famines and plagues and pestilence. Was those conspiracy theories at those points in times? I mean, you could say it was conspiracy theories, but in the real definition, that's when you conspire together with one breath. Me and Ted over here, we planning and plotting on robbing the bank. Hey, Ted, you want to go rob that bank down on the block? We can get us some millions. Yeah, this is how we going to do it, X, Y, and Z. We're conspiring together. All right, now, if we don't go rob the bank, that's a conspiracy theory. All right, we plan this here thing out. But once we go and rob the bank, well, it's just a conspiracy. We conspired together to go commit this here crime, and we did it, right? But the way they're using these terms is the fact that we're just liars out here. We're just making up things like, I don't know, whatever, there's a Pokemon living under my bed. That would be how they're using these terms, conspiracy theorists. If you walk around telling people you got a Pokemon or a Pikachu hiding under your bed, people will look at you like you crazy. Oh, he out here spreading these crazy ass lies. He believes in some crazy shit. But in reality, the things that we've been telling you, they're all coming to pass, man. Why was you all locked down all last year, man? Why are you being forced to take a jab before you can travel or do anything? Why is in Biden's first 100 days he want to jab up everybody? Why is everybody on TV you seeing got these side effects? Is it because it's a conspiracy theory, or is it because it's some things you actually seeing taking place? All right, are we medically misinforming people about these things ain't safe to take, but yet and still you seeing people on TV taking it ain't a good outcome for them? All right, it says in Wednesday's bulletin, the DHS also cited misinformation and conspiracy theories about the jab or the pandemic that allegedly drove threats of violence against crucial infrastructure, including the electric, telecommunication, and healthcare in 2020 as justification for their assessment. Right. We would have been plastered over the damn news and the TV for doing any of these things. This is what they want us to do. They want us to fall into these traps. This is why we have to be blameless. All right. They want us to fall into these traps so they can post us on the news and say, see, these Hebrew Israelites, these black Hebrew Israelites did all this, and that. But they don't have no evidence of these things, man. All right. It says there's little doubt of the bulk of the threat is seen political. However, the hypothetical threat of violence is in response to the Democrat push to impeach Trump for the second time has already been cited to extend the deployment of 5,000 National Guard troops in Washington through the end of March. And so what you have to understand, let me finish this up. It says Homeland Security urged Americans to report anything and anyone suspicious to authorities. All right. Turning they of your own household should be your enemies, man. Turning the father against the son, the mother against the daughter, or whatever, whatnot. When we out here telling, on the simplest term. Hey man, don't be taking this jab, man. They trying to kill you with that or whatever, whatnot. You tell somebody something like that, you know what I'm saying? And they sound like them same people that was out there at the Capitol building. You see, you might have been brainwashed by those white supremacists or whatever, whatnot, you know? Then they wind up calling the police on you, taking a jab, and then wind up the tongue swelling up in their face or whatever, whatnot, start shaking uncontrollably or either dying, man. You know? It says, Homeland Security urged Americans to report anything and anyone suspicious to the authorities. Choose nonviolent ways to make your voice heard and strengthen your community by standing together against violence. And that's what we doing, man. You know, who is the hammer of the whole earth, man? We standing together against him and you know, in opposition to our communities, man. And when has he showed us love? You know, the scriptures say, for thy violence against our brother Jacob, you know, shame shall cover thee, man. All right, so this is exactly what we're doing, but what they're trying to steal the narrative and paint the picture the opposite, you know? It says, while implying that people who had doubts about the 2020 presidential election are potential domestic terrorists, the DHS also declared it was committed to preventing violence and threats against people on basis of their religion, race, ethnicity, or identity, or political views. You see, they have to kind of drill down a thing in all be all, you know, based on their religion. You know, hey, we don't really follow a religion, but in layman's terms, they could say that, you know, we follow after the law, statutes, commandments. You know, race and ethnicity or identity, you know, hey, we're the Israelites, y'all the Edomites, and then the rest, you know, talking about, like I just quoted, for thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. You know, talking about Esau, all right, based on his quote unquote race, just like in the time of Egypt with the Pharaoh and so on and so forth. You know, you got to think about that. That's how the Most High rolls, man. You think that every single Egyptian that was living in Egypt was quote unquote evil unto us or bad to us or was, you know, whatever, whatnot, however they want to say, oh, y'all think that all so-called white people are evil and violent or whatever, whatnot. I know some so-called good white people, but look, go back to Egypt. Was there or was there not, you know, the firstborn out of every household touched, man? Was the plagues upon all the Egyptians or was it just upon the Pharaoh and his household, man? All right, the plagues came down upon all the Egyptians, man. All right. So nevertheless, let's jump into some scriptures real quick. And I want to start out first by reading about these insurrections and things. Like I made the analogy of the spiritual weatherman. All right. So again, we're not inciting these things. We're telling you these things before they come to pass, man. Again, it would be you know, absurd for you to sit there and try to blame the weatherman because Hurricane Katrina came and destroyed your house and killed your grandmama, as if he was out there, you know, out in the water stirring it up or whatever, whatnot, and pushing it towards your land. No, if anything, you should give him thanks for warning you of these things, man. All right. 2nd Ezra 15:14 says, woe unto the world and them that dwell therein. All right. Woe means destruction. You know, we're giving you warnings about these things, right? For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. All right. None of this is saying, look, you Israelites go out there, pick up some swords and start fighting it out with these damn Edomites or whatever, whatnot. No. Again, we're the spiritual weatherman. It's like, well, with this here pressure and the hurricane seems to be picking up speed, and, you know, with these winds or whatever, whatnot, it's going to come this way. All right. We're telling you because of the way of things are shaping up that this is what's going to be the outcome of these things, man. All right. Verse 16. And this is what we see now in the Capitol building. Again, it's not saying that the Israelites was going to go do these things or whatever, whatnot, or commanding us to do these things. The Lord was giving us warnings of the things and the signs that we could look forward to in the times of the end. All right, these things were gonna happen regardless. But it's not the fact that, you know, if I was to tell a woman, you know, that's pregnant for the first time or whatever, whatnot, I'd be like, you know what, it's gonna come a time when your water break. You know what I'm saying? And you're gonna be in extreme pain as you out there in labor trying to get, when you about to have that baby, you're gonna be in extreme pain and whatever, whatnot, you know. Now she go water break, she's in labor and in extreme pain having the baby. Now after she had the baby, she come back hating on me and want to fight me or whatever, whatnot, because you one made me go through all this pain and this and that. You said this. I'm like, nah. What really happened was I knew the natural course of what it's like to give birth. You know, since, you know, the beginning all the way up until now, you know, women they had pains in their childbearing and things like that. You know, labor pains and things like that. All right, this is just the natural course of how things was gonna go. You just didn't know that these things was coming to pass, and all I did was warn you of these things. It's not my fault that you had to go through these pains or whatever, whatnot. So don't blame us. You know, this is just the natural course. It says, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They should not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. And that's to the T of what happened out there in the Capitol building, man. All right, they rolled up into the Capitol building because of what? They didn't believe in the election of Joe Biden, and it was a fair election and so on and so forth. Then they got together with their little internet buddies or whatever, whatnot, incited riots and went up there. And even the government knew about these things, and then they had their people stand down, more or less to say, and led them up into the buildings. Like I was saying, this is more or less, was staged or something set up so they can bring in these draconian laws behind it, man. They need the justification for these things, man. All right, but let me go from there to Matthew 24. All right, because see, these things were all written before times, like the scripture say, the things written before times written for our learning and our understanding. Matthew 24:9. These are the signs of the times of the end. All right, and let me go to verse 3. It says, "And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, what shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming in the end of the world?" So these things was already, just like the woman, going through pains, labor pains when she giving birth. This is already set forth. This is just your first time getting pregnant and having a baby. You know what I'm saying? You about to learn the hard way. But after you have this first baby, guess what? You can go and tell another young woman who ain't never had a baby that she gonna go through the same things. But guess what? You didn't bring the pain upon her. All right. You could have just been walking down the street and seen a woman that was pregnant, in your travels one day, and tell her, you're gonna have labor pains one day, and it's gonna hurt when you have that baby, and fly off and never see this woman again. It's not like you brought the pains upon her. You just was warning her about these things, man. Same thing here. Yahushua is about to give us the signs and the warnings before, the end all be all, before his return. So let me jump back down to verse 9. Well, let me go to verse 8. It says, "All these are the beginning of sorrows, the beginning of the end, the beginning of all the ceasing of the birth of the city." Verse 9 says, "Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake." And as we just read through the article, they're creating these laws, these draconian laws, all right, to frame us as what? Domestic terrorists, all right, and to come down upon us. And they're putting the word out. If you see something, say something. If you see something strange, if you see somebody speaking up against what the government is saying, say something, man. All right. And what? The majority of these people are so brainwashed that they believe that no government would ever tell them anything wicked, try to mislead them, try to kill them off or whatever, whatnot. Now, they'll remember Hitler and say, oh, that was the one bad government that would do that. But in reality, every single government has always done this, man. Every single government, you know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, people don't really go into the history and understand these things, man. But how did these governments get to be able to do all these things to their populations, like Mao Zedong and Joseph Stalin? How did they be able to get to do all these things to their populations? All right, they first had them brainwashed and believing that they would never do things like this to them, and that their course of action was the best course of action to follow and to take until it was too late for them. All right. Then they look back and then they'll say, you know what? These was wicked, tyrannical dictators that led the nation to a slaughter, man. And look, when you look back in time, it's already written now about, the most wicked kingdom. All right. The great whore of Babylon and all the things that would happen here in Babylon or whatever, whatnot. We can already read about, as far as looking back in time about it. But right now we're actually living through these things, man. All right. Verse 9 says, "And they shall deliver you up to be afflicted, and they shall kill you, and you should be hated of all nations for my name's sake." Again, for reading the scriptures, all right, and telling these people about their end, about their future, all right, and telling them about all the things that's coming to pass, and, the mirth ceasing, the grinding coming to a halt, the insurrections, the uprisings of the people, the uproars of the people, the famine, the pestilence, the plagues, and all these different things. All we did was warn you about all these things. And now that the Lord brought all these things, what? The people, ultimately they hate the Lord, but then they don't have the Lord that they can sit there and cuss him out. So they'll just put this down upon us, man. All right. Verse 10, "And then shall many be offended and shall betray one another and shall hate one another." And this is what you have going on right now. The separation of, of all the people, especially, if you're telling your parents, your grandparents, and your wife, your kids or whatever, whatnot about this here jab and not to take this or whatever, whatnot. That could cause a divide in your household, man. All right. People might start hating you over these things. Look, we got to get back to work and so on and so forth. So look, we finna get a divorce. I'm going to take the kids and we're going to go get jabbed up so we can go back to work. You can go be a bum if you want to go be a bum, man. I don't know what got into you, but we up out of here, man. Verse 11, "And many false prophets shall arise and shall deceive many." All right. And we know we have these false teachers out here telling you about, whatever else is the mark of the beast. It don't make no sense. Not just that, you also have these people on the media or whatever, whatnot, trying to paint these different narratives, talking about, ideological extremists, violent extremists, talking about off religion, race, ethnicity, and so on and so forth. They're trying to tell you, they're trying to give you a warning that these people like us are the actual bad guys. We're the ones bringing all these pandemics on the earth, economic collapses on the earth, poisonous jabs on the earth.
violence on the earth. They act like we're the ones bringing these things, man. The only thing that we're doing is, we're the commentators on the sideline, man. We watching the fight and we just, commentating on the fight. Oh, he threw a mean jab, a mean left, an uppercut, and so on and so forth. We not the ones throwing the punches. We just calling them out as we see them coming, man. All right. Verse 13 says, verse 12, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. Yeah, and they're going further on with their agenda or whatever, whatnot, and people are getting more and more cutthroat over these things, man, because, wow, they're starting to lose a lot of the different things in their life. All right, a lot of these people now who had these jobs started losing their jobs, and what they want to go out there to protest and turn up and overturn some things or whatever, whatnot. Verse 13, but he that shall endure to the end, the same shall be saved. All right, saved from what? Saved from this damn devil coming down with great wrath upon us, man. Let's go to the book of Revelation. Revelation 2:10 says, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. So the Lord is already preparing us that, look, we might have to suffer some things, man. All right, not only being called terrorists, put on the TV, your family starting to hate you or whatever, whatnot, may throw you out or whatever, whatnot, abandon you or whatever over the, your stance on these things, man. All right, hey, one of the worst things they could do is put your face on the news and call you a domestic terrorist, in which we've been saying this the whole time, and people think that, oh, y'all far-fetched. Y'all just want to call this upon y'all self and make y'all seem like something. Bro, look, why are they creating these laws or whatever, whatnot, man? Why are they doing all these different things like this, man? All right, we see these things. And who are the people that's speaking out against their plan and their agenda as they're ushering in the New World Order? All right, it says, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil, the who? The devil, not a righteous man, but the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that you may be tried, and you shall have tribulation 10 days. All right, so you're going to be going through some things. It says, be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. All right, so, hey, don't be afraid of these different things and the names that they could call us and everything like that, because at the end all be all, you didn't do anything wrong, man. All you did was you stood for the truth, and you were speaking of the truth. All right. This is Philippians 2:13. It says, for it is the Most High which worketh in you both to Salak. It is the Most High which worketh in you both to will and to do of his good pleasure. So, hey, it's the Most High that's controlling us to do all these things, right? It says, do all things without murmuring and disputing, that you may be blameless and harmless, the sons of the Most High, without rebuke in the midst of a crooked and perverse nation, among whom ye shine as lights in the world. So not only, amongst our own people who call us out and, oh, y'all niggas is going off or whatever, whatnot, because you got 2/3 of our people that are against us, man, that's calling us out. Oh, y'all conspiracy theorists, y'all some haters. We're going to go get jabbed up, whatever, whatnot. Hey, all right, well, the same as learn after death by pain, man. When you realize that you wind up screwing up, it's like us. And again, we're not trying to threaten nobody or nothing like that. It's like, look, if we try to tell you, hey, look, we got the winning lotto numbers. The winning lotto numbers is 144. And you say, oh, we don't believe y'all some junkies or whatever, whatnot. The winning lotto numbers is 666. And you go play that 666 and then your ass lose. And on the other flip side, we've been telling everybody the numbers is 144. And everybody we told the numbers was 144 all hit. You can't come back. Well, I mean, that's in your pride. But you can't come back and hate on us as if we led you the wrong way, or we lied to you, or we was evil to you. We tried to give you the hookup, but you didn't want to listen. So guess what? Like the scripture says, you're going to have to learn after death by pain. The example I just gave about trying to give somebody to win a lotto numbers, hey, man, you're going to have to sit there and live in your sorrows or whatever, whatnot. Still sitting out there being poor, living paycheck to paycheck or whatever, whatnot, whereas everybody else is over here that came up big time, man. All right? But look, we tried to help you out. We didn't take away all your money. We didn't make you poor. We tried to get you out of your situation. You didn't want to listen. Therefore, you're going to have to just continue to be broke, man. It says that you may be blameless and harmless, all right, the sons of the Most High, without rebuke. What can they really say against us, man? All right, all we're doing is reading out of the Bible and warning the people, man. We didn't we didn't orchestrate the Capitol building uprising and things like that, man. We didn't give the bad side effects of these jabs and everything like that, man. We didn't crash the economy. We didn't shut down all these jobs and everything like that. We didn't do any of these things, man. Why are we the ones being looked at as the domestic terrorists? If anything, you should look at the governments. The governments is the ones who shut down all your businesses, man. The governments was the ones that was, quote unquote, slow to react to the pandemic. The governments is the ones that was quick to rush these damn jabs out without, quote unquote, safely, testing them or whatever, whatnot. They're the ones should be responsible for the side effects of all these people or whatever, whatnot, man. They're the ones giving you the medical misinformation on the news and whatever, whatnot about these jabs and telling you how safe they are, man. They're the ones that, got the FBI backgrounds on these people and their insights to their riots, but did nothing about these things, man. They're the ones to blame on all these things, man. All right. In fact, let me grab that real quick. We'll close out there. Where's that? Galatians. Is it Galatians? No. I think it's Colossians. I guess it was Galatians. Salakia. Yep. This is Galatians 4:16. It says, am I therefore become your enemy because I tell you the truth? All right. And that's what these people are painting the picture, the narrative of, that we're the so-called domestic terrorists or whatever, whatnot. We're the ones inciting uprisings and uproars. And, you know, hey, we're not behind a Black Lives Matter protest, Antifa protest, the MAGA protest, none of these, the jab we're not behind any of these things, man. We're not doing any of these things or whatever, whatnot. And the majority, all these people that's in all these groups, none of them are so-called fit fruit to be an Israelites, because the majority of them are Edomites to begin with. All right. And then we have like the Black Lives Matter protests, the jakes that are out there. These are like the 2/3 anyway. So none of these people are really on our side or fit for repentance anyway. So, you know, don't try to label us with these people or whatever, whatnot, man. But this is, you know, Esau's plan and his agenda to, paint this narrative against us so that what, they'll be justified when they come down and taking us out, man. Because like I said, man, if they just came down on us and everybody knew us, because, you know, people see us, we go out on the highways and the byways, people see us, you know, the restaurants around or whatever, whatnot, the cops. If you ask them, like, oh, those guys come out every weekend, they preach, you know, they'll just be out there for a couple hours or whatever, whatnot, then they'll leave. You know, sometimes people come up, but they just go out there and they just preach, you know. That's what most people that actually see us, that they'll say those things about us. You know, it's only the people that is foreign to them that'll walk by and try to call the police, and then the police will have to explain to them, well, they ain't really breaking the laws. They just out there reading the Bible, man. If you don't like it, walk down the block, because we know that they're not grabbing you up and trying to force you to listen to what they're saying or forcing you to do anything. If anything, you stopped where they was at. They didn't run up on you and ask you anything, right? But what? Like the scripture said, have we become your enemy because we told you the truth? No, man, we just out here telling you the truth, but the damn enemy is actually coming down trying to deceive you over all these matters, man. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, this here lesson was edifying unto the elect. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders, a great millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, Akim, pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Until next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.